Two of the most decorated offices in this department. What do you see?
Looks like a robbery gone wrong to me.
This wasn't a robbery, this was a hit.
What the?
Someone out there is killing puppets.
All right, that was a sneak peek from the Happytime Murders. I want to bring in film critic Richard Crouse now to share his review on that film and other flicks. And I will just say, it hasn't been a banner week for movies. Richard, I don't understand this movie. The title sounds weird and creepy, but it's a comedy, the Happytime Murders?
Allegedly a comedy. Let's say that. So this is, you know, I wanted to like this movie. I like the Muppets, although it's not Muppets. They look like Muppets, and it's Brian Henson, Jim Henson's son, who runs the Muppets that's doing this. But it stars what he calls the miscreant puppets, the puppets that don't make it onto the Muppets because they've got foul mouths and they like to drink and party too much. So it is Melissa McCarthy starring as an L.A. detective. She lives in a world, or, you know, in L.A., in where this movie is set. Puppets and humans live alongside one another, and someone is killing all the members of a 90s kids show called the Happytime Gang. And so they team up, Melissa McCarthy and a puppet team up to get to the bottom of who this serial killer is and why it's happening. And there's a couple of things that I have to make clear right off the top. First of all, you see puppets, but this is not a movie for kids. Do not take it, repeat after me, do not take your kids to this movie.
Okay.
I barely felt old enough to hear and experience some of the stuff that's in this movie. It is a hard R rating on this film. And because they were trying to differentiate it from all the other Muppet stuff, they went so far in the other direction. You know, if you've ever been to a dinner party and there's someone who's swearing just for the shock value, for the sake of doing it, it's all just for shock value. Well, this movie's like that. The first bit of language, which I obviously can't say here, comes about 30 seconds in. By the time you get to the porn shoot, the puppet porn shoot, you realize that this is not, you know, Muppets Treasure Island or anything like that. It's a much different thing.
No Kermie and Miss Piggy around.
No Kermie or Miss Piggy. And so it's all shock value, but what I would say, it's all shock and very little value. So it's a 1 out of 5 star movie.
Whoa, okay, Melissa McCarthy, come on. Papillon.
Papillon is a remake of the Steve McQueen, I almost said Dennis Hoffman, Dustin Hoffman film from the early 70s about two men who get sent to a penal colony in French Guiana called Devil's Island. And apparently it's impossible to escape from this place, and yet they hatch an escape plan anyway. Based on a mostly true story. That movie is bleak. It is sparsely, the dialogue is very sparse. It is a movie that really brings you into the atmosphere and the sense of hopelessness that these characters are feeling. This movie is a little different. It hits all the same beats as the original movie, but it feels much more like a typical prison drama with sort of a buddy story at the middle of it. I will say, though, Charlie Hunnam from Sons of Anarchy and Rami Malek, who we will soon see play Freddie Mercury in the new Queen biopic, are very good in this. So I gave it 2.5 out of 5 stars.
Okay, and we're going to end with a movie that you liked a little bit more. This is Crown and Anchor.
Crown and Anchor is a movie, set in Newfoundland, and it is a crime drama, a gritty little crime drama about a cop who goes back home after leaving years before. An abusive father, a terrible kind of life was happening for him. So he left town, got out, has to go back for his mother's funeral, and sort of gets sucked back into the same kind of family dynamic. His father's in jail, but now his cousin is sort of continuing the family tradition of petty crime and doing terrible things. And this is an interesting indie movie. It's calling itself a punk rock film, and it really does kind of borrow that do-it-yourself kind of thing that made punk rock so interesting, fun, and feeling fresh. And this movie has that. It feels fresh. We've seen stories like this before, but the character work is really good. There's some great actors here like Mike Rowe and Natalie Brown, and it's good stuff. So 3.5 out of 5 stars.
All right, and I will just add that you also gave Breath 3.5 stars. Richard, thank you so much. Have a great week. I hope next week's movies are better for you to watch.